this video is going to be about how you could have a spark of darkness in you but still shine so light in a world where everyone's good, apparently. Accepting your darkness. I accepted mine around last year, late November-ish, and it's life-changing, honestly, and it really opens your eyes to the psychological things that people do. An important word here is pattern recognition, and it's not by coincidence, but unfortunately I'm currently living in it. The best way to live it, I would say, is really isolation. But isolation is hard because when you grew up in a hostile home, and it creates a lot of issues within yourself that you have to outgrow. So that fear of abandonment that you're feeling, you gotta let that go, and you gotta keep your mind busy towards other things. That's the only way I can think of, for me personally, to beat it. That's what's been working for me. And mental health is very important. I've always been that person that takes it very serious. The few friends that I have will tell you that, I'm always the type of person to ask, like, are you okay? Like, even my partner will tell you, but like, people aren't like that for some reason, and it's okay, because not everybody has that sense of compassion. Good and evil it's a balance, and the darkness that erupts in people that are psychologically awakened is really lonesome, because the little things that people do that make you, it just rubs you the wrong way. It feels weird, and when you come to that realization of accepting good and evil in yourself, you realize there's nothing in this world that can ever break you. Because people who are coming into your life are not coming in by coincidence. They're coming in by the boundaries and the things you went through and accepted in your past that you really haven't healed from. So being psychologically awoken, along with accepting your good and evil, completely shifts a person's perception of reality to make yourself into a better person. And like I said, I'm currently living that right now. Like, for example, like, if you always the one calling and texting, like, I haven't mastered my emotion, but I'm getting much better at it. But it's like, if you always the one calling and texting someone every single day, and especially when they're not even texting you back, like, dang, I'm not important to you, am I? It makes you feel some type of way. It really does. But it's like, the universe is showing you to value yourself, because all that energy that you're pouring into someone that you're not receiving back, damn, it's powerful. It's something 99% of the population will never understand, because the psyche is, I believe, is the most important part of being a human being. Because if you don't have compassion to understand someone's pain, you're desensitized. You're not human. And I'm very much a human being. And like I said, you're desensitized to be able to feel emotions, to be able to feel. And I feel like when someone loses that, it doesn't mesh well, because when someone has the ability to read someone's psyche and energy, it completely shifts everything, from the way they talk, the way they move, the expressions on their face, the way they say certain things that just rub me the wrong way. And it really does make you sit in darkness with yourself and reflect. And reflection is a big power that's taken advantage of, to be able to have the time to be able to reflect to yourself about certain things that annoy you that people do. Is just to be able to be by yourself and actually reflect it's a great superpower, because not a lot of people can face their own thoughts. Being lonely is nothing bad, you know. It's if anything, it's elevating you for a certain point where you get to in your life, where you rise above any type of emotion that's internally harming you. Life is amazing. We all live and we figure it out on our own way. Some people figure it out sooner than others, which is a blessing, of course. But, you know, in this life, once you're psychologically awoken, you're not going to mesh with too many people, which is more than okay. A lot of people that are in this societal norm where they think the grass is greener always on the other side, it's okay, because what you won't accept, the next person might, but at least you're saving yourself from your morals and values that you won't let someone walk all over you with. And that's pretty much where I'm at in life. I used to be the type of person, like, I pour out so much love, First thing in the morning when I do and I get up, send a text, call. But like I said, when that energy is not being reciprocated, reflection is the greatest superpower, and it'll actually save you from your own mind. Silence is another superpower that a lot of people aren't aware of, because when you're in silence, you're forced into a realization to accept all the good and bad thoughts that are coming to you, whether you want to take action upon it or just change your way of thinking. That's entirely up to you. As human beings, I feel like compassion is very important. It's very important, because if you don't have compassion, especially for someone you say you love, you don't have that ability to actually love to the fullest potential that we can love as human beings. So being a student of the game it can break you, but I turned that pain into so much knowledge that I personally can never be broken from anything that this life has to throw at me. Because when you build a certain type of energy in yourself, that energy is used externally into the world, where you're disciplined enough to not let that overthrow you into what you're about to become, or becoming, or became. We're always evolving, so we're always going to be becoming different things in this life, of course. As we know, we live in a world between worlds. What does that mean? It means until we're dead, we have all the psychological power to advance ourselves and not deal with certain things, to protect ourselves from heartbreak, all types of things. But it's amazing. We live in a world between worlds, the barzakh and right now. The barzakh is when the soul, when the angel of death, the malak al-maut, come and takes your soul. You're in the grave, but you're roaming. So we have the barzakh, and then we have the day of resurrection. Right now we're in real life. We're still living. So we're gonna be in the barzakh. Until then, it's never too late. It's never ever too late while you're still breathing, while you're still, attention is earned, while you're still doing anything, scrolling, driving, you have a chance to do what so many people before us didn't have. They just did what a lot of these other entities whispered for them to do, just not fully think for themselves, but their desires. And when you elude yourself from following all your desires, you're not only the most powerful human being on the planet, but you're part of that 1% who won't accept no type of shit. And when you turn into that type of person, it's scary. And it's gonna offend a lot of people because you won't let anyone talk to you some type of way. This illusion of respect is earned, not given, is bullshit. You're a doctor, and I work at the airport. That doesn't make you any better than I am, and it doesn't make me any better than anyone else on this planet. So respect is always given. If I don't have anything to say that's respectful, I always keep my mouth shut. It's the best thing to do because people get offended off the littlest thing. And if I offend someone, I do apologize. I don't say things to offend anyone unless I have to protect myself or what I believe in. But people like to normalize this thing, whereas putting yourself first is always okay. But when you're hurting others in the process of doing that, that's never okay. And that realization is where you disassociate, and it's super hard. It is. But like I said, when you get to a certain point where you sit into a space of darkness and you're resonating with all your thoughts, the good and bad, you can never lose. Because the ability to be able to read people's emotions it's a curse. Because like I said, it means you're not gonna put up with no type of bullshit or accept it. I'm not saying like you're gonna talk to me in this way, but you're gonna talk with some respect, because I'm gonna talk to you with the most utmost respect. And that's what people don't understand. That's what separates the 1% from the 99% of this illusion society who normalize the things that shouldn't be. But we don't have to fall into that category because we're different. Different doesn't mean better. Different means we're just in a different lane from the other 99%. We're in a boat. We're in a boat where we know what we want and how to make our thoughts into actions. Free thinkers. The ability to think before you speak. Superpowers. Knowing when to speak, knowing when to be quiet. The thing is, with my partner, like, when I'm really listening, when they're asking questions, she'll be like, I'm asking you a question. I'm like, I understand. I'm just listening to you. I want to hear everything you guys say before I speak so I don't cut you off. But it's like, in the moment of silence, the silence speaks volumes. And she realizes that, the energy just shifts. You know, when something is rubbing someone the wrong way, people can read energy. I mean, you don't have to be a special type of person to read energy. Like I said, when you the thing that makes us different is the ability to read every expression in a person. That's a curse, because it just makes you want to it makes you want to distance from certain type of people that possess that trait. And as soon as you see it in certain type of people, stay far the fuck away from me. Don't come near me. You're not welcome in this circle. You know? Whilst our circle is small anyway, because it's better like that. People who have the bigger circles get snaked. They get snaked the most, because they think they have so many people in their corner and this and that. You know, that's them. You can do that. We'll never do that over here. Going to the top, no one makes it to the top alone, but not everyone's your friend. Some people, you keep them at a distance while still going to the top together, which is completely possible. I'm living it. We are living it right now. It's always possible. But to be able to turn your pain into a force of energy that drives you to be your best self is what I am. Living proof. You could go through so much, and you can you can harness it into a certain type of energy that'll make you advance. A certain type of energy that you harness into yourself and then bring it out externally. It's true peace. It's true love. And it's something they'll never understand. It's something they'll never have, because most people will not sit and resonate with their own thoughts, because they can't accept their darkness. They can't. It's too powerful for them. They're not ready, and they'll never be ready. Like I said, this is something that since the first human being, Adam, people weren't able to possess. These are traits that people weren't ever able to possess before, civilizations before. The thing about Babylon, people who really were into magic, the type of magic that they harnessed into themselves and bring out into the world was a powerful energy that was created from within themselves, not only from the help of the Ifrits and the Jinnis, but, you know, mixing knowledge with a lot of the knowledge with the human psyche that we have is powerful. It's powerful, because once you mix those things together, it's like, okay, how do I make this into me? How do I control it? Because if you can't balance out the things that make you you, one is going to overthrow the other. That's what they've told me, and that's what they're teaching me, and it's truly amazing. As always, this is Ifritral Knowledge, from the help of Lucifuge, Astaroth, Belial, Sathamal, Lucifusion. The six of us will never lose. When you understand things like this, as I've said, it's something they'll never understand, but the term never lose doesn't have to do with money, power, anything like that. It has to do with the acceptance of the self, choosing to be a certain type of happy into your life where nothing can affect that. Life is amazing. We're alive. There's so many people in the grave that didn't have the chance to accept things like this, and it really does turn your life around. We're not preaching, we're simply speaking. We're proud of everyone who's in this step in life, who's harnessing this power. This is Ifritral Knowledge forever.